friends, it's Laura from CoolMomAndCollected.com, and today I am sharing my literacy basket for my Kinderleben students. Now, if you guys have never heard of a literacy basket, it's just a way to get your Kinderleben students exposed to different things and activities that will aid them when they get to year one and are starting to read. I'm a homeschool mom of 5 children under 8, and we do a Charlotte Mason philosophy with Ambleside Online. If you're familiar with Charlotte Mason, year one starts at age 6. Kinderleben is everything before. It's the early years of schooling. You're not having formal lessons. You're getting children used to being outdoors, being given different responsibilities and chores, learning character, and having lots of free time to play. Lots of great literature. It's all included in Kinderleben. And in fact, if you guys want to see what I plan to do, then you can watch one of my latest videos and see everything I plan to do with my Kinderleben students this year. Now, I have seen a few of these literacy basket videos, and let me tell you, people are buying a lot of stuff. I'm sure you have a lot of these items around your house. You could save a ton of money and just make your own literacy basket. So let me take you along and show you guys what I chose. And so here is my table, jam-packed with all the things I had around the house that work perfectly for my literacy basket. So I'm just gonna go one by one and hopefully provide some inspiration. If you guys are liking or appreciate this video, please give it a thumbs up and even leave me a comment. I read them all, I respond to them all, unless you're a creep. Check my previous comments, you'll see it's true. And by the way, you won't be including all of this in one ginormous basket that the kids are gonna be doing every day. But if you're like me and you write it on a handy dandy, what is this, index card, then you'll know what to grab and what to change up on different days. So this is We See Nature. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it before. There are so many different ways to play this game and it is so cool. Everybody gets a certain amount of card. They're different angles. It might be like a really close-up picture of a frog or a really far away picture of a snake or whatever it is. And you won't know what it is until you scan the code on the back with your phone. But once you do, it'll tell you what it is, where it was found. It will tell you the photographer that took the pictures. There's a lot of opportunity to build vocabulary. There's a lot of opportunity to learn about different things. If I take this picture, show you what this is. It's a Greenlandic ice sheet, okay? I thought it was a snake. It's an ice sheet. You can scroll down and it'll tell you where it is, the date that it was taken, and it'll even tell you about the photographer that took it. So it's a pretty neat game. So since literacy is the ability to read, write, understand, communicate effectively using language, this is just a great way to get your kids describing. One of the ways that this works is everybody has a different card and they have to kind of like dominoes match. Say I put this card down, another person might be like, oh, I'm gonna put this here. Why'd you do that? Oh, because the grass kind of reminded me of these things around here. It's just a really great game, and so I'm going to use that for literacy and helping my children learn this word building puzzle. By the way, everything's going to be linked in my Amazon storefront, probably under literacy basket. If I can find these things, I will put them for your convenience. But again, guys, look around your house. This is really cool because as we're learning these different letters, I mean, we can literally pick this up with my kids and we can go practice the letter sounds and put it together and do these puzzles together. And basically it's 4-letter word puzzles. So there's 16 4-piece puzzles and there's a picture. We can talk about what it is, letters that we can talk about the sounds. Another great game that I actually got probably at a yard sale. Oh no, this was at a thrift store for $2. This is the alphabet and numbers. So we're just going to talk about the alphabet, but when I do my math basket, I'll talk about the numbers. Simple puzzle pairs. So we'll have the letter like k, and then it will have the matching picture. So this again is great for literacy because it's gonna give us opportunities to practice letter sounds. I'll even have like, dog, pig, and I'll ask my Kinderleben, which one starts with k? Maybe they'll be like keys, and then that's when they get the satisfaction of putting it together. There are a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can also just kind of have them work through the letter sounds. And again, you can give them the options of what to choose. I really like that. Another thing, and I'm missing one, which, doesn't that just kill you when you're missing a puzzle? But if you guys have a Melissa and Doug, wooden puzzle. This is great. You lift up the puzzle pieces and underneath it has the carrot. So not only could you just set this up like doing a regular puzzle, but you can go through the letter sounds. A, B, K, D, E, F, G. You can go through and then you can even ask, can you find B, B, B? And they might pick it up and give it. Or you might say, what's this? Basket. What does basket start with? B. And then can you find, maybe you just give them two options. A, B. Which one does this start with? Basket. So there's a lot of different ways. You can be so creative in how you do these things. Similarly, I have another puzzle with wooden letters, and a lot of times I've heard with Charlotte Mason that it's good to have like a physical letter for your Kinderleben students to play with. Again, you're not expecting these students to read at this age. They're not expected to do that in Kinderleben, but just to get familiar with the letters and the sounds. I think it's such a wise use of time. And obviously, we don't need to give them all 26 letters and expect them to put something like this together. You could literally take out the D, the U, the C, the K, and have them put it together and go through the different sounds. I thrifted this. So there's a bunch of different ones and a bunch of letters. And I just think that that's been another really great option. I was gifted these beautiful cards. Alphabet cards are wonderful because it's so important before you teach letters like A, this is B, this is C. Don't even teach them the letter names, teach them the sounds. A. And not like B, but B. K. And look how beautiful these cards are. And I'll show you where they're from because it was a gift and it was so sweet. Pip and J Papery. Really great quality too, if you're wondering. It's not your typical easy to bend, but it's also not like cardboard, but comes with a little ABC scripture memorization card talking about how it's important to memorize scripture. But every day in our literacy basket, one thing for sure we will do is going through letter sounds because I think that sets up the foundation of reading. This over here is just something I thought I'd include because again, I had it. You would use a dry erase marker and they can practice tracing. You guys have seen tracing with sand. I'm sure you can YouTube it or Google it, but you can teach your children letters by having them trace their fingers in the sand. And it just gives them, again, like feeling, any chance for Kinderleben students to like feel the letters. I just knew that this would be a great activity. Again, we don't need to overwhelm Kinderleben and be like, do all this. It's your literacy basket, do it. We can literally give them a letter a day. Again, do what works best for your child. Feel out your child. This stuff is so versatile, guys. Not only can I do s, and use it like that to teach it, but we can talk about the people, the rainbow. Tell me what you know about a rainbow. What colors are in a rainbow? It helps with their language, with their development. It's important to try to use these items more than one way because there's definitely more than one way to use each of them. And you can talk about things. Shout, make a joyful noise for God. That's so sweet. Do we shout in the house? Do we shout outside? There's just so much that you can do. Something else that I really like that I thought about is bananagrams. Again, your Kinderleben students won't be spelling. Does that mean you can't use bananagrams? No, you definitely can. You can play a game where you have a Kinderleben student pull out a letter, say they get They might not know it, especially if you're just starting out. However, if you're practicing every day, the letter sounds by one day, they might really impress you. But when they pull it out, you can say, you got. Can you think of a word that starts with and say they don't know and they're clueless? Then you can literally say, you got. Now tell me, which starts with rocket, banana, kite. Ease it up to what your child's stage is at. Don't get discouraged if something you try doesn't work because I'm telling you, if you take a little more away and work with less, you guys are going to see a big improvement in your kids. Over here, I have charades. And I think this is great because there's a picture. So even if they don't know it's weightlifting, which number one is always probably the one you'll do if you get this, because number one is what the picture will show. You see like the frog. Even though they can't read, they'll be able to see the frog. And then in charades, they'll act like the frog. What's cool about that is that's, again, another way for them to practice communicating effectively, what they're trying to be, and it's a lot of fun. So I think charades is an awesome thing to put in a literacy basket. Different cards that have facts about what's on each. Wave, right? I could ask the kids, do you know what this is? Say they say water, or it's a wave. Again, there's so much you can do. You can go over letter sounds if you want. You can read the facts about it. Then you can ask them, what do you know about the sky? What do you know about the earth? Or tell me about jellyfish. Have you ever seen jellyfish? How many stars are in the sky? Does God know how many stars are in the sky? Can you tell me a story about the moon? Can we pretend that we're on the moon? Change this up to be able to cater to the different goals that we have with our literacy basket, which is, again, to enhance reading, writing, storytelling, imagination. You can also lay these out. And you can say, you see anything that you can climb? What's something that you can climb? And you can give it to mommy. And then, they might pick this up. You see, there's no formal lessons here, guys. You're just getting them introduced to having the ability to read, to write, to communicate, to develop language, to get a grasp on the foundation of reading by learning letter sounds and different things like that. One huge thing that will help is literature, living books. Reading to children is obviously going to be huge. So I just ran around my house and I have so much more. I should grab them. If you guys watched my most recent video on what I'm going to be doing with my Kinderleben students, then you'll know that we use the Ambleside Online reading list, and I have a great deal of those books. So I'm going to be pulling those as well. But some that I chose that I would plan to do with my Kinderleben students is one, we got this children's Bible and I've chosen to save it for this year. It's basically just like a page a day, 2 pages a day. And I just figure, even though we read from the actual Bible every day, it could just be another way to bring the Bible to life. All right, and we're nursing, so let's try to do this with a baby. Then I also have the Miniature World of Peter Rabbit. Guys, how cute is this? I got this from my grandmother when I was a little girl, and it just has all the books. And I think that the daintiness of it is just adding that just awe and wonder, like a little book. Was this Benjamin Bunny's book? It's just so sweet, so tiny for a bunny. So I love that. I plan to read those with my children, even though I've read with them before because I've read them to my older. I'm still going to do that. Part of my school year, I'm going to be reading Now We Are Six by A.A. Milne poetry. And I'm going to also be reading When We Were Young poetry. This is really great for Kinderleben students. And so I plan to do that. More of the complete stories of Peter Rabbit's Giant Treasury. Again, these are just such fun books. Some other books that I just quickly snatched to give you guys an idea is colors. All right, there's no reason why we can't do something basic like learn our colors. The more kids I have, it just seems like they learn these things on their own without me even teaching them. But obviously, I want to make sure they got all the colors down. So a simple book like this is going to be great to have in our literacy basket. I also have books like Little Bear's Friend, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, The Little Engine That Could. This I'm excited about because I thrifted this, The Annotated Mother Goose. Apparently, Mother Goose is a great way to encourage literacy with your children. I'm thrilled that I thrifted this, but I think just the language that is given in Mother Goose, the rhythm. Farmer went trotting upon his gray mare, bumpity bumpity bump, with his daughter behind him so rosy and fair, lumpity lumpity lump. There's just something proven and true about Mother Goose. Nothing crazy. Maybe we'll read one a day, but I do think that would be something fun to do daily. It's not presented in the most beautiful way, but I have a ton. And I mean a ton of these cards where you might have them too. I mean, you can get them from the dollar store. There's just so much potential for playing games and building off of these cards. You can pick out a card and say glass. Can you get the glass? And maybe you tell a story with the glass. Or can you sit on the sofa? Can you jump on the sofa? Whatever you want to say. Can you show me your favorite dress? Tell me why it's your favorite. You could also, again, glass. What does glass start with? What sound? Glass. Depending on your child's experience, they may be able to answer that. I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Guess Who is a great game to also have in your literacy basket if you want to play it with your kids, because Guess Who is great with describing. So we actually have like the pet edition and the person edition, but I just think this is great to do with a Kinderleben student because you can start to have them get into describing different characters. They can start kind of understanding different facial features or things to look for. Call me crazy, but I just think that this would work really great in a literacy basket. Now, when we talk about giving our Kinderleben opportunities for make-believe and imagination, these peg people in this adorable handmade box by a homeschool mom was gifted to me by my sister-in-law. And honestly, it could not be more perfect for the literacy basket because my children are able to make stories together and play and use language as they're pretending to be these different characters. And I just think it's absolutely adorable. Do you hear my children banging on the door? This is it. I had this in my home. I know you have stuff in yours, and I would love to know what you would add because maybe you have something in your home that I have in mind that I didn't think of that could be great for my literacy basket. Hold on, we have a little baby here that needs to nurse. If you take one thing away from a literacy basket, I would just tell you to read rich literature to your children. And sometimes it is just that simple. So if that's all you feel you can handle and you're like, Laura, what can I do with my Kinderleben students? I'm really overwhelmed. I would say start there. If time is really tight, one living book, at least a day. I mean, you guys can do that and you can get them from the library. And there's no shame in that. Read the Bible to your children. The Bible is so rich. And you know that no story told will ever be in vain because it's going to build their faith as they're learning from young children. And then if you want to add a little more, I'd say, okay, you're doing the Bible, you're doing living books. Why not add letter sounds? I think that will really set your child up. And my last note of encouragement for you all, give yourself grace. There's a reason we don't just start with calculus with our 5-year-olds, guys. There's a reason we don't just start with chemistry with our 4-year-olds. We all start at the bottom and we all can start slow and gracefully and we can all learn and become better each year. Allow yourself to taste of the grace of Kinderleben. Again, truly, I didn't do much with my Kinderleben students, if I'm honest, year 1 and year 2. They learned so much just by being exposed to what my year 1 and year 2 student was learning. So do not be hard on yourself if you can't even make a literacy basket. But at least now you're encouraged, hopefully, that there are tools in your home that you can use and give your children a wonderful feast for literacy. Now, stay tuned because I do have a math basket coming up, and that is going to be very similar and hopefully will inspire you too. I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay cool, calm, and collected, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.